On April 12, 1978, a 6-year-old girl vanished on her way home from school in Makera, Kaduna South. Witnesses swore they saw her talking to an ex-convict, a man already infamous for his role in a brutal massacre. Within weeks, a suspect was imprisoned. Within months, the child's parents were dead of grief. And for 40 years, the community believed justice had been done. But what if everything they thought they knew was wrong? Asabe Markus was the only daughter of Asabe and Markus, a poor but deeply respected family in the Kakuri community. Bright, promising, and full of life, she was her parents' pride. But on that April day, as she walked home from school, she disappeared without a trace. Her devastated mother, Asabe, never recovered. She died just months later. Her husband followed shortly after. The Markus family line was extinguished. Witnesses claimed they saw Asabe speaking with a man known as Dick Tiger James. He was no stranger to the law, an ex-convict who had served time for a deadly robbery and kidnapping case that left 5 people dead. When police discovered he'd been the last person seen with the little girl, they had their man. James admitted talking to her, even giving her 500 kobo, about $8 at the time. But he swore he never harmed her. The court didn't believe him. Based on circumstantial evidence, he was sentenced to life in prison. Case closed. But the truth was far darker. Asabe had been abducted by members of the notorious KKT5 syndicate, a feared gang known for robberies, kidnappings, and ritual killings. She was thrown into a Fiat Lada sedan and driven to a hideout. At just 3 years old, she was marked for ritual sacrifice. But fate intervened. One gang member, Simeon Ayakum, couldn't bear it. He orchestrated her escape, smuggling her out under the cover of night. From Kaduna, she was trafficked across the country, sold in Onitsha for 225 naira, and handed to a human trafficking kingpin, Nduka Okonkwo. Within months, she was smuggled out of Nigeria into the United States. Asabe Markus was gone, but she wasn't dead. In America, she was given a new name, Stephanie Dixon Mayfair. She grew up excelling in school, went on to medical school, and became a trauma surgeon. By 2001, she was married and living in New Jersey. To the outside world, she was a success story. But deep inside, Stephanie carried a question that haunted her. What really happened the day she vanished? 42 years later, Stephanie returned to Nigeria. She searched for answers, but memories had faded. Entire generations had passed. Just as she was about to leave empty-handed, an elderly woman stepped forward. Her name was Madame Titi. She remembered the case, the grief of Asabe's parents, the man who had been blamed. Her advice was simple: go to the police. The file still exists. There, at the Makera Police Command, Stephanie discovered the truth. Tika James, the man convicted of her disappearance, was still alive, rotting in Kirikiri Maximum Prison, Lagos. She was no time flying to Lagos to meet Tika. At Kirikiri Maximum Prison in Lagos, Stephanie met him. By then, Tika was frail in his 70s. When she asked about her case, his voice shook with denial and grief. He swore again that he was innocent. He sobbed, saying he had prayed, not for himself, but for the little girl every day of his sentence. And then Stephanie delivered the revelation. I am that little girl. I am Asabe, the hardened ex-con, who had spent decades branded a child killer, broke down in tears. So did she. So did everyone in the room. The man who had lost his life to a wrongful conviction finally knew the truth. Stephanie wasn't done. She hired one of Nigeria's top attorneys and reopened the case. The investigation uncovered the KKT5 syndicate. Its surviving leader, a former politician, was arrested at 78. The trafficker, Nduka Okonkwo, was already serving time in Hong Kong. And Simeon Ayakum, the man who had saved her life, had been executed by the gang decades earlier. Most importantly, Tika James was finally exonerated. He was freed, compensated, and lived out his final years as a free man. He died at 81, broken, but vindicated. The disappearance of Stephanie Murphy was not just a story about a missing child. It was about a system that failed, a gang that thrived on fear, a man wrongly condemned, and a survivor who refused to let the past stay buried. For the community, it's a warning of how easily justice can be lost. For Stephanie, it was closure. And for the rest of us, it's a haunting reminder that sometimes the greatest crime is not what you did, but what people believe you did. If you enjoyed this story, please hit the like button and subscribe to the channel for other exciting stories. Thank you for watching.